Hi, you are listening to Everything is Personal by Fortis. My name is Victoria Belausova. I'm Chief HR Officer in Fortis. And here I talk to successful professionals from different tech companies. I want to find out what they did to build a career in Dubai and at what point everything went right. What right decision, critical meeting, or just luck has changed it all. We are going to listen to a lot of fascinating and very personal stories. Today, my guest is Maha. She is the Chief Commercial Director in our team Fortis. She changed career twice, and that was not an easy decision. Hi, Toka.
Maha.
Oi.
It's a good start. These are very good for bloopers, the behind the scenes.
Hi, Toka. Why Toka? I don't know.
Which is a good start. Toa is actually my sister.
Okay, because we talked about my first interview with Toka.
Toa,
That's why, the brain just thought that I am with Toka.
Yes.
But I think that your sister, that's why,
In your head. It's a good association.
Yeah, good association, right. So, hi, Maha.
Hi, Vic.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today?
Very good. How are you?
Fine, thank
Good.
you. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. I've
Monday.
heard that you don't like Mondays.
I do not like Mondays. No, I've been working forever, and I still can't get myself to wake up on Monday excited. Unlike my sister, who is super excited on Mondays. She's just like, yes, I'm going to office. I'm gonna see all my colleagues, and I'm like, yeah, a new week. A new start.
Okay. So let's talk about you because the aim of this interview is to know you, to know your roads, to know your experience, professional experience also. And as I told you, it's very important to know you as a human being. So please tell me about your family. Because it's a very important part of us, yeah.
Yes. I come from a very interesting family. I think we're a great subjects for a comedy show. Everyone in this family has a completely different direction. So I'm the oldest of three. So I have a younger sister, Toka, and then I have a youngest brother, Osama, and we are a very a different family. Everyone has their personality, and I respect my dad so much for giving us that room. Everyone can be whoever he wants. He raised us on certain morals, on certain behaviors, and then they gave us that room to explore what we want to explore. So if you see all three of us, everyone has a completely different direction in life. We look different. We are not copy-pastes from each other. We have different personalities. Even what we wear or what we eat or what we like is not a copy-paste. And I appreciate that because it's not very common in Arabic cultures. You raise your kids gender different, so females are different, males are different. And our house, it wasn't like that. We all had the same opportunities, and we all had the same rules. And sometimes these rules were a bit strict, too strict.
Yeah.
But with age, it kind of changed. So we kind of had more room as we grew. I really appreciate that. Something very funny about my parents. So my mom is a very cute, we always refer to her as like a 16-year-old teenager who's stuck in an old woman's body. Yes. Still. She's very young. She has a very young soul. She loves to, travel. She loves to go out with her friends. She doesn't have the responsibility streak. So she's very irresponsible somehow. I remember when I was in school, my mom had cancer back then, and she was not in the best place medically, let's say, which is unfortunate. But she would be very excited about doing things that are breaking the rules. And I am someone who follows the rules. So you'd see the school call me and they're like, hey, Maha, your mom needs you immediately. And you're like, okay, something really bad happened, right? Something crazy, like something the worst. You always expect the worst when you're in that kind of mindset, right?
Yeah.
So I go down and they're like, someone is going to be waiting outside on the street, and I see my mom hiding behind her car, hiding behind the wall, and she's just waiting there. So I go to her and I'm like, is everything okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And she would say, yeah, I just wanted to have breakfast. Come, let's have breakfast. And
Together.
I'm together. Yes, she just wants to go out and have fun. And when I'm at school, there is no one
and
to...
you're at school, yeah. At the
I'm
same
at school,
time.
I'm studying. So I think that was it describes my mom in a very brief way. She's very live now, like YOLO, you only live once. And it also is because of all her experiences, right?
Yeah.
So she's been through a lot, and she overcompensates that with like doing a lot of like, let's go out, let's do fun things, let's live life. And I love that. It balances out our family.
Yeah, it's great, because when you are a mom, when you have a definite role, normally, it's another picture, of this role in our life. How did you decide what profession you choose when you grow up?
That's actually very interesting because I never decided. I am in sales. So when you're younger, you don't have that option, right? You go to university fairs, or no one comes and tells you, hey, do you want to be a salesperson when you, a salesman or a saleswoman when you grow up? I don't think that option exists. No one actually promotes it. And it's not where I started. I actually studied engineering, and then after engineering, I studied some filmmaking. Engineering for the family, of course. We're Arabs. When you're an Arab kid, you have to either be a doctor or an engineer. Maybe pharmacist, if that's okay.
That's it. Only three options.
These are your three options.
Why?
These are the successful options. So every parent obviously wants their kids to be successful. So in their point of view, you're only successful as an engineer, a doctor, or maybe a pharmacist, right? But not very much. Ideally, it's a very interesting perspective. Every Arab person knows that. Like, if you speak to anyone who comes from an Arabic background, they'll tell you that their parents at a certain point wanted them to be a doctor, or even like a Desi background.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
It's very important because I also heard from Toka that your dad was, liked a strong woman,
Yes.
and that's why he supported you to choose your way.
Yes.
And I think
100%.
it's not very common in Arabic culture.
It's actually very religious because he became very religious as a dad. So my dad was not very religious when we were younger. And then with time, he became closer to God. And the closer he became, he realized how important it is, the role of women in Islam. Like the Prophet was married to a businesswoman. She was older than him. That was his first wife, right? And we get to marry 4 wives based on a lot of rules and regulations. But his first wife was a businesswoman who was smarter than him, stronger than him. She was very popular in the business market, and she was trading. So she was actively interacting with a lot of people. So the more religious he became, the more this idea was very strong for him that, you know what, I want my daughters to be strong if they choose to. I'm not compelled, or it's not compulsory for me to work. It's an option and a choice that I make. So it's an option and a choice that you have if you want to. But you're not blocked from, being strong. On the contrary, you have to be strong. And all the men in your life are there to support you financially, emotionally, and on every aspect. So my dad was very big on that. He wanted me to, like, in the beginning, it was a struggle. So I remember I was supposed to become a pilot. I got a free on-board scholarship because I graduated from school when I was 14. I was studying like so many years. I was very smart, apparently. That's what people used to say. When I graduated, I had a free scholarship to a full-on scholarship, a free scholarship, to become a pilot because I was going to be the youngest pilot in the world, not only the Middle East. And my dad was very supportive. He wanted me to do that. But you know, when your parents want to say no, but they want to be supportive at the same time, but they want to protect you at the same time.
Like me sometimes with my daughter.
So my dad at that time did not want to break my heart. And he knew this was a huge step for me, but he couldn't do it. So he kept telling me, yeah, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. But then one day I'm packing my bags and I'm going to become a pilot. And he's like, maybe not now, maybe later. I feel like this is not the best for you at this stage, because he was scared. I was the oldest. Now, when you're older, you see this perspective. Obviously, when you're young, you don't see it like that at all. All you see is my dad is destroying my life. That's all you see.
Drama.
Absolutely, 100%. And you take it to the maximum. Like, I'm going to leave this house. I'm never going to return. You're no longer my parents. But today, when you think about it, even I don't have kids, but I can still feel and understand where he's coming from my relationship with my sister, from my relationship with my brother. You have that protective instinct with time, and now you understand where they're coming from. So he was still very supportive throughout the years. If I go to him with advice, he would not tell me which way to go, but he would give me the place and the space to think. So he would stimulate your brain. Like, what do you think is the best way? Why do you want to do this? And ask you the questions that you should ask yourself without directing you in any direction. And I appreciate that. It changes the male figure perspective in your life.
You know, it's very respectful, to tell the truth. I will take this, approach of your, the approach of your dad. Just, because sometimes I just show the direction to my daughter, but yes, it's very important to ask and to just, to switch on the brains of your child.
Yes, okay. I think that helped me a lot, honestly. Over the years. You should do it, 100%. It makes a difference.
Maha, when did you decide that you want to make your first sale?
I think I did not decide. When I was still in school, we used to go to a summer camp called Mudhish here in Dubai. Mudhish city was basically where the parents would put their kids from 9 a.m. It's a huge expo area. I think now they do it in the World Trade Center and they block like 6 halls. So it's like massive. And they've got activities, they've got a lot of things. One of the things they have is like small kiosks, small shops somehow. And these kiosks sell very different things. Some of them would sell like ice cream and candy for kids. Some of them would sell like souvenirs, Dubai stuff. And it was also a tourist stop. So one day I wanted to buy something, and my dad was very disciplined with us when it comes to money. So we had an allowance, we get an allowance, we need to figure out how to break it down. We need to figure out how to spend it. So at that point I decided I want to buy something, and it was a little bit more than my allowance, which was back in the day 25 dirhams a month. So I used to take 25 dirhams a month, and I wanted to buy something for, let's say, 500 dirhams, which was a lot. So I didn't save for it. And I didn't plan myself, so I needed to figure out a way to make money. And when they dropped me to Mudhish City, I looked at one of the kiosks and I said, you know what? I want to build that kiosk. I want to not build it, but I want to sell something there. I see they're making money. They're taking money from me. So I want to be the one taking money from other people. And I went to basically at that time, the Department of Economics to get a license.
Oh, really?
Because you need a license to open any business in Dubai, right? And
in school?
It is true, yes. Any business you want to open, even if it's a kiosk, you need a trade license. So I went to the economic department to understand better. My mom used to drop me there. I would go ask everyone, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And someone found me or referred me to someone else, and they're like, hey, we have a program for young entrepreneurs. Would you like to participate? We give them free licenses. And I was like, yes, I want a free license. I want to start selling stuff. And they asked me, do you have a sponsor or do you have money? Capital. And that's the first time I understood what does capital mean, right? I'm like, no, I'm just going to put some stuff in the kiosk and I'm going to sell it. And they said, no, you need like a sponsor or you need something, capital. You need something to sell, right? So I got, back then, I'm a bit older than I'm supposed to announce.
Yeah.
But you know the yellow pages?
Yeah.
So I got the yellow pages and I started making calls on every number from the first page. So I opened the first page.
To unknown people.
To unknown people, just random people. I called all family, obviously. I called all friends. I asked everyone if they want to participate in this as a group. And finally, I found someone. I reached someone who was with an A because I was still in my A. And it was called Alia al-Qamar. Alia the Moon. And it was a shop for Arabic perfumes. And you know, bukhur, dukhun, it's the incense you put on charcoal to spread. And they were extremely popular with this generation at that time. So they said, we will sponsor everything. We will sponsor all your products. We will sponsor all the, and we'll give you a little bit of cash to just get things moving. I made so much money. I think this was my biggest and first interaction with sales. And I realized, wow, you know, you can do so much with it. And I was interacting with people and I love people. I just love talking to people. I love, you know, interacting with people. When we go through that, it exposed me to the idea of sales, even though I didn't know what was sales back then.
So you was like a startupper, yeah?
Yes,
You
from
created
the beginning.
your own startup. Maha, what was your next step in sales? Because you know it was successful, so I think that you continued, you proceeded with in sales, right?
It's very interesting. I did not continue in sales because at that time I really did not know this was a career. I thought you just open a shop and you stand in it, right? I was very young. I was maybe like 12 at that time.
Really?
Very young.
12?
I graduated from school when I was 14. And this was in my last years of school. So I was very, very young. I didn't understand what it was exactly. So I finished and I went to university. And obviously, as we said earlier, university means I have to be an engineer or a doctor. A doctor was a bit too long for me, so I chose the engineering line. And when I studied engineering and I got a little bit of an exposure to engineering, I didn't really like it. I wasn't passionate about anything. So I wasn't looking for something. You know, when you're going to a career fair and you're looking at things and you're like, we had in school career days and everyone would dress up in something that they want to be. I did not have that passion. I did not feel like there was something inside me calling. I feel like this is a very social media thing that is new. Or something that is inherited in you. So your dad is a doctor, so you become a doctor. Your dad is a policeman, you become a policeman, and so on, right? But I did not have that passion in me. And I realized when I was older, it's okay not to have a passion, by the way. It's completely fine not to have a passion. It's important to find your skills and improve them. So when I went into engineering, I learned a lot of skills. I learned how to become a problem solver. How to fix things, how to find the solution. Even when you're looking at a problem, you're not looking for a problem, you're always looking for a solution. And when you're looking for a solution, and you take that aspect and you plant it across your life, it's very, very life-changing. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. I never worked in engineering. I studied media after that. And after I studied media, I did what everyone did. And I worked in what I studied, which was filmmaking and media. So I worked in MBC for 3 years. I was an assistant producer. I was working on sets. I was working on film productions. It was very nice. And at that point, I realized, engineering was helping me because my job was to solve problems at the last minute, or my problem was to always think of plan Bs. And I'm very grateful that I studied that. I also studied media, which was helpful because I know how to do things now. I know what is happening on a set, what is wrong and what is right.
Yeah.
But after that, I woke up one day and I was like, I really don't like doing this anymore. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to do this in particular anymore. So I woke up and I said, hey, why don't you change? And every time I wanted to change, I would get a new movie or a new thing, so you never change. And back at that point, I was 24 maybe, 25. But I felt like, oh my God, I'm going to change my career now. I'm so old now. Obviously now, when I think about it, I wasn't that old, I wasn't old at all, actually. I was still young, and I'm still young. But when you're younger, again, that's the perspective that changes with time.
Yeah.
You think you're very old and you think life is over, but it's not. It's absolutely not. There's still much more to come. And I actually woke up one day and it was very stressful. I'm like, I'm starting from scratch again. I quit. I started looking for jobs, and the closest thing was marketing to media. So I started looking for marketing jobs, and everyone would push me to go to sales. Every marketing interview I went to would put me into a sales role.
You told me that you realized that, this profession, this place of work is not yours. You are not in your right place.
Yeah.
It's about the self-reflection. Yeah, you think a lot of it. So how did you realize that it's not yours? What the feelings you had, or maybe thoughts? Because it's very important, to understand yourself and to feel and to notice your thoughts and emotions and etc. Not all people can do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work. That's it. They go they come at home and etc. But you are, about the self-reflection, I think. Yeah.
I think it was, so one day I was working on set, and when you're working on set, you can be filming at night and you're the last one that leaves because you're in the production team. So you can leave at 2 a.m. And then if you have a morning shoot, you have to be there before sun because you want to catch the sun from the beginning of the day, right? So this would be my full-on journey every day. I would be living on sets. For everyone, it was like, this is what people work for, right? So when you're sitting there talking to other people about not feeling it, everyone would tell you like, you're meeting all these stars, you're like on set, you're like on production, you're doing what a lot of people are dreaming of, right? And I think this is the problem. Everyone's dream does not mean it's my dream.
That's true.
And this is the same point, right? If I see people doing it on social media, for example, traveling, I thought traveling was my thing for the longest time because, you see a lot of people doing it, but doesn't mean that it's for me. It could be for everyone else except me. And I don't have to fit that stereotype. So when I realized it's okay not to be like everyone else, and it's okay to want things that are only mine.
I see.
It's not everyone else's dreams. I realized I don't want to do this. I'm doing it because it's glamorous for everyone. And it's something that I sit with my friends and I say, hey, I was on set and I saw Tom Cruise the other day on film. But in reality, it's not what I want to do. I'm not happy doing it. It pays you very well. You've got a lot of money. But still, like, it's not what I want to do. And it's not what I'm best at. It's my skills. My skills are being used in a very good way. But I think I can do something else. And it's okay to try, There's no problem with me like stopping and starting from scratch and trying something else. And by the way, if it fails or if it doesn't work, you can always go back. It's not the end of the world, And that is very important. That is a day where I woke up and I said, I don't want to be on set till 2 a.m. I don't want to wake up at 5 p.m. I don't want to be meeting all these nice people. They're wonderful, but I want to do something different. I want to try. I didn't try other stuff. And I did. I think from a perspective of when to change your career. There's a lot of these motivational videos that you saw on Instagram. I don't really believe most of them. I think they are somehow washed out. Like, Oprah Winfrey started when she was like 40 or something. And people can be very old. I think it's not the number, it's how much you have planned left, right? So I think of it in a different way. How long do I want to be working for? Do I work because I want to work, or do I work because I have to work? So there are people who come and work a 9-to-5 governmental jobs. I call them the governmental jobs, even if they are working in a private company. You want to leave. You are not passionate about what you do. You don't know what you're passionate about. I do not know what I'm passionate about till today. But if tomorrow someone comes up to me and tells me, Maha, you know what? I think you might be a really good pilot. And I still think about it till today, I had an opportunity to be a pilot when I was younger. And everyone comes and says, oh, you're going to spend so much money. You know how much money you're spending on that. And then you'll only have 10 years left as a pilot because you can't fly after a certain age. I really don't mind it. If it is going to be something I want to explore, then why not? Like, what are you going to lose? Some money. You can make more money later on, either in the new job or in the same job if you return to it, or a completely new job. It's like starting your own business, right? I did not start my own business because I was always waiting for the idea. I still don't know what to do. Just get up and do something. Now I did, me and Tua, we started a company together, right?
Yeah.
And just do it. Even if it doesn't work, what's the worst that could happen? You will learn. When I was younger, I started an online e-commerce before there was online e-commerce. That was in 2007. In 2007, I went online, built a website with my own hands, started promoting it on Facebook and Instagram, and I made a lot of money out of it. At that time, when I used to tell people I'm going to build a website, they would go like, what? No, who would order from you? Who would trust you? Who would even complete an order? And it worked. And today it's the same thing. Sometimes, as a human, I sit there and I say, Maha, you won't be able to do it. It's normal. I'm not a superwoman, Like, I get these ideas where I will fail and I will not succeed. And this might not work. But two very important things. First of all, a support system. So me having someone like my sister telling me, just do it. What are you going to lose, right? And the second thing is yourself. You need to also be disciplined internally to take risks. That's what differentiates people who succeed and people who never try. There's no failure. There are people who try and people who don't try.
And the age doesn't matter, right?
Absolutely not.
So after the film production, you didn't have a job, and you joined the company marketing position, right?
No, actually, when I left, so when I woke up one day and I decided, I don't want to continue what I'm doing, I quit. I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So I started building a CV, first of all, applying to jobs, and I would apply to marketing jobs because it's close to production or assistant production or whatever it is, the field that I was doing. So after I was done with media, I jumped to marketing interviews. When I was interviewing for marketing, people used to push me to sales. So everyone who interviewed me at that point wanted me to join them, but in sales. Everyone used to say, you're so good, you're going to be so good at sales. And I didn't understand why would I be good in sales. Also, please bear in mind, there is a very, very strong stigma about salespeople. So in our world, in our culture, in our society, sales is usually a looked down on
Really?
job. It's not a very esteemed job, you know? And it's also for people have not the nicest qualities, you know, you're gonna be a liar, you're not gonna be truthful to people, which is very common about sales.
Yeah.
But I disagree, obviously. But you can be a salesperson, but no one ever promotes it to you. So like we said earlier, you know, like you can't go to a career fair in university and they would tell you, hey, do you want to be a sales?
Yeah.
Even if you want to study it, right? There is nothing to study. If you go to business school, there is HR, there is management, there is marketing, but there's no sales.
Yeah.
Although it is the core of business, right? It's the core of every business. So if you actually end up in sales, you either end up in sales because you have no other options in the world, or it's because you're really good at it. And someone discovered that you're good at it at a certain point, like what happened to me, right? So I was in an interview and then I was with someone. He's like, you know what? Take a risk with me. Let's try. I'm telling you, you're going to be a very good salesperson. And I joined that company.
He believed in you, yeah?
Yes.
In your potential, let's say.
And he thought I had so much potential. I just needed to know how to sell.
The process.
100%.
So what about your parents, especially your father? What was his reaction?
My parents' reaction to me being joining sales was very funny, actually. I joined, so also I moved from a very nice job, very well paid, to a very poorly paid job in sales because I'm changing careers, which is fine. You're starting from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So I go back to them. I'm super excited. I'm like, hey, I just got a job. And they're like, yeah, wow, what is it? And I'm like, sales. And they look at me and they're like, you're going to be a salesperson? Like an encyclopedia salesperson? You know, the ones that come and knock on your door and they're wearing these suits. And I'm like...
and offer something.
Yes, and offer you like a product. I'm like...
some weird product.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. And I'm like, no, I am working in a tech company. And they're like, so you're selling software, IT sales. And to them, they said it in a way where it's like, we didn't work so hard and you're so smart for you to end up in sales, right? It's very funny. Today, they don't think like that at all. Today, they're very like, wow, my daughter is a chief commercial officer, or my daughter does this and, and does that. But in the beginning, it wasn't easy at all for them to accept it.
Yeah, I understand. It's because of like the same stigma or perception that sales is something about the person who is knocking at your door.
Exactly.
Okay. What about this guy who believed in you and your potential?
Yeah. Till today, I'm extremely grateful. And till today, it's something that I always do, right? I always take risks on new employees, new team members that I want them to join. If I see the set of skills that I want in people, I know they would have the potential for growth. So I think he did not only change me by giving me the opportunity, but he also, guided me, mentored me, showed me exactly how to do things. And when I joined sales, I skyrocketed, right? So I was growing so fast, so quickly from one job to another, internally and externally, right? It's because I knew what I am good at, not what I'm passionate about. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But what I'm really good at. And I forgot about the stigma, what the society thinks is okay or is not okay. Like sales not being the best option for you. And finally, having someone to give me that chance. So someone gave me that chance, guided me, mentored me, and now I'm doing the same with people as well, right? And I hope the people that I'm doing this with will do it with the next round of people and so on.
I'm lucky because I had the great bosses in my professional life. One of my boss, he suggested me to be the trainer, because I have this, set of skills to be the trainer. Previously, he had this experience, and he grew up from training and development department. And at that time, he was head of HR of Eurasian Caucasus region. And, he told me, do you want to be the trainer? I told him, okay, let's try. He mentored me 1 hour per day. He spent with me. My first training was effective communication. I needed, to know all materials, and I needed to be ready for some difficult question, etc. And he was, for me, I tested all my skills. I tested all parts of this training on him.
Okay.
And he was a big boss, but he spent 1 hour per day with me just to support me, because he asked me some difficult questions and etc. And when I conducted my first training, I was ready. I was thankful to him that he believed in me and he supported me. That's why, it's very important. And as you told, for me, it's also very important. Sometimes I also invest a lot of time for my employees, for my team. If I see that there is a potential, there is a set of skills. And I also spend a lot of hours, let's say, just to support and to teach. It's very important for our teams.
I think the difference between me being in film industry and cinema and TV and the sales is I had more potential. I had a faster growth. So one of the reasons why I left movies and cinema and that whole production setting was because it seemed like there's no future, right? It seemed like I was going to stay in this layer for so long. I was going to be, I stayed for 4 years, and as an assistant producer, I moved to a production coordinator. But then for me to reach a higher level, I was looking at everyone around me, and everyone was not... There were so many people who are better and more experienced and are not going to leave soon, realistically, right? They're not retiring anytime soon. They are staying here, and there are not many opportunities in that field. Even if I'm good at it, there are also a lot of other people that were better than me in it. So I think that was one of the differences between the film and the sales. With sales, I was good. I had the set of skills, and I am an Arab who speaks Arabic and English, and I speak 6 dialects of Arabic. I am smart. I'm a pleasant talker, so it's nice to speak to me, and I'm a good listener, which is very hard to have, both skills. And once you understand your set of skills as a person, you will know that this career is better for you. And that career will show you, because you will be not walking or climbing up this, you'll be running. You're literally skyrocketing. You have so much potential that once you are really the best, people will want you to stay, or they will fight over you, right? Because you're really good at what you're doing. But it's important to also take the risk, right? To leave one place and try another place. You'll never know.
True. So, Maha, what was your next step?
Moving from that company, which was a great opportunity, because it put my foot at the beginning of the road of sales, right? I moved to another tech company, and it was quite a different experience. That company was one of the most toxic work environments that can ever happen to anyone. It was so bad. Unfortunately. It was so bad to the point that when we left, and a big group of us left together, we used to all meet and talk about how toxic the work environment is. And when we joined new working environments, we were like, is this real? Do people you were completely brainwashed. You're feeling miserable all the time, and you were feeling you're not enough. You were feeling like no matter how much and what you do, you're always on the edge, you're always stressed. You're always anxious. And that was created by the management and by the company itself. So what happened is, a lot of people would leave. Like they would come 6 months and leave. They would come a year and leave. I stayed in that company for 2 years. And everyone kept asking me, Maha, why?
Why? Yeah, the same question I have. Why, Maha?
Yeah, like why would anyone be okay having such a horrible work environment, right? At that time in my career, it was a choice. I can either sit and ignore you don't ignore it, but like try and deal with the toxicity, but learn. Because that company was massive learning bank in my career. It taught me how to work in any environment. That's number one.
Yeah.
And the job that I did at that point was managing business accounts, channels, and alliances. So I would manage resellers, or I would manage other partners that we work with. And when we do that, you are learning how every company operates. And every project you get is a completely different business process. So you're learning so much. So at that time, you either go the easy way, which is like, I'm going to leave, I'm going to find an easier job, I'm going to find a better job. Or you know what? You stand your ground, you be a little bit stronger, you learn as much as you can, because those 2 years are equivalent to 7 years or 10 years somewhere else. And that's exactly what happened. I stayed 2 years there, and it was equivalent to 10 years somewhere else. And that is the case with every place you go to. But that place in particular was quite different, because I was learning like there is no end to it. And then once you're done with it, you're done with it. You're like, I'm okay. I've learned enough, and you need to balance also your mental health, right? You don't want to suffocate, because at the end of the day, it's just a job. It's your career.
Yeah.
But it's just a job. It's just a milestone in the middle of a lot of things.
Yeah. I think it was important at that time that you had the opportunity to learn. Because if it were only toxic and that's it, I think that you would not just stay for 2 years. Yeah.
100%.
So what was your next step? And after this company, you moved, as far as I know, to another company where was completely different corporate culture, right?
Yeah. I was very lucky. I actually moved to a job where I stayed for like 20 days. But the difference was that company was toxic with no learning curve.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the 2 years. So I stayed with them exactly for 32 days, 1 month and 2 days. And then I woke up and I was like, yep, no, it's not going to add any value to my career. See, your biggest goal is your career. It is where you want to be after 5 years or 10 years. It doesn't have to be an exact picture, but it's more of like where I want to be learning-wise or knowledge-wise or experience-wise. And this is what I always focused on. I didn't focus on a title, right? I focused on where I wanted to be, knowledge. I wanted to have this much knowledge or this much knowledge. It's what you call now experience, right?
Yeah.
So once I left there, I moved to that short period job. They did not have an added value, so I left them. It was a choice that I made, not the best choice, but it was a choice. And guess what? As we said so many times, try it. If it doesn't work, you can leave. You're not held against your will and there's a gun to your head kind of thing. I am free to move from this place to another. I moved to my last, the company after that, and that company is my favorite company in the world. It's the best work environment that I've ever had. The culture in the company was very healthy, was very supportive. They wanted you to grow. They wanted you to learn. They had a budget for your education, They made sure to check in with you. Your manager has to check in with you and tell you, hey, how are you on a personal level? Because they understand your personal level affects your work level. They check in with you on your work level, but everyone checks with you on a work level. How are you? Are you okay? Is this too much work? Is this? But no one checks in with you to check your emotional stability, your mental stability. If you need any support, if you're going through a rough patch at home that might affect your work outside, right? But that company had all of that, you know. It was like, to me, after all that I've seen, it was the dream company, you know. It's where you want to be, and it's what I want. If one day I have my own company, this is how I want it to be. Because when I got another offer and it was double what I'm getting at that healthy company, it took me 2 months to decide that I'm going to leave. 2 months of negotiation. And, you know, this is when you realize it's not about money. You know how a lot of people, especially HR, you know, when you meet someone and you don't want them to tell you, oh, I'm joining you because of the money.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you really don't want to. You want someone who is part of a company.
Even if it's true.
Even if it's true, exactly. You have to say, no, it's not the money. I just love you as people.
Yeah.
But this was the case, you know. I loved them as a company, an environment, people, career progression, a lot of things, right? And then you decide, you know what? No, I don't want to leave here. And then and all of that is usually because of a good manager, right?
Yeah.
Most of that, even if you're in a great company and the manager is not great, it doesn't matter.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa, exactly. It could be a very bad company and your manager is fantastic. And you're like, I want to work with this person for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Literally. He's my work husband, you know, like your manager is someone who filters what comes from above, right? So I'm a manager at this stage in my career. I get a lot of stuff from above, right? From on the hierarchy, someone on top of me. So you have a choice. Either you become a funnel and you just pass it to or you filter it and you cut the circle, because there is stress no matter what you do. There's a manager who's going to tell you, hey, let me show you how to do it. So you know how to do it. And there's a manager who will come and say, oh, you don't even know how to do this. You know, it's such a small thing and you don't even know this. How did you end up here? Because I had both, right?
Yeah.
And when it's like this, it's your choice to learn from both, by the way.
Yeah. How to do and how not to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So today, as a manager, I will never go to any of my employees and say, hey, how are you not capable of understanding something so easy and simple? It's not the right way to do things.
Very toxic.
That is the nice part of it. This was not even the toxic part of the job. I hope this was the way they communicated at a certain point. And it adds a lot of value to him as a person. I respect him, right? I put him in a very high place. And if he wakes up one day and say, hey, Maha, I need you to help me. I need you to come work as my assistant. And I have jumped in my career, I know I will get so much added value as his assistant to learn from him, to get that exposure from him, and I will do it for sure, 100%.
Hope he will not call you.
Because
you're with us.
Hopefully, I don't think he will call me. Honestly.
Yeah. Please, I will pray for
join
you.
us, you know? I might bring him.
Okay, please bring him to us.
Good
but we don't want to lose you.
Yeah, I'm staying for a bit, hopefully.
Okay, yeah.
I want to say that, you know, it's not easy. It looks super easy. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. You know, today I meet a lot of people and they sit with me and they say, oh my God, you're so successful. It's because you were so smart. And I understand, you know, I graduated when I was 14. I am smart. And I know it and it's fine. And it took me a while to accept saying it and not be full of myself, you know.
Yeah.
There are a lot of challenges. You're a female, you're Arab, you are working in a sector that I did not study. I did not study tech. I'm not from a technology background. So I really I'm not computer science. I'm not an IT. It's not easy. I remember I used to sit down in my toxic job every day. I would come back from 7 till 1 or 2 p.m. and I would sit and 2 a.m. sorry, and I would sit and I'm just studying because I did not understand anything anyone was saying. I really had no idea what they're talking about. When they said a server and they said server rooms, and I'm like, I have no clue what they're talking about. Today, I sit in the middle of product teams building products with startups and companies, right? I help enhance these, and I understand how to deal with tech. And it's not because I was only lucky. I wouldn't say that it's not luck, but I don't think it's luck either, you know? It's that middle ground of I worked so hard. I worked on personal growth. I worked on personal education, and I focused on growing as a person, not as a name or a title or a position. And I think that is what makes it or breaks it, you know? You are focusing on learning and growing as a person. And when you do that, you learn how to communicate your knowledge and you learn how to showcase people that I know what I'm talking about. And you learn how to articulate yourself better. But it's always things that you learn to help you reach where you want to reach. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. I skipped so many. I missed my university gala dinner. I missed a lot of social interactions. I missed a lot of outings, parties, nights, late night gatherings that people are doing because I had a choice, you know? I wanted something. I'm doing it now because I've reached that stage where I can take a little bit of a step and balance things out. But you can't have everything. We can't be selfish. You can't have everything in life. So you need to prioritize. You need to say, I want 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now.
And then change it. And it's okay every year to change it. I have a quality that helped me reach where I am. And at the same time, I feel like it's something that is what I want to work on now. I am working on now. It's the fact that I always feel like me as a person can be better. So where I am today is never enough. It can be a very toxic trait because you're never giving yourself a break. You're never breathing, you know? You're never taking a sick day. And we were discussing this earlier. I've never in my life took a sick day till last week when I had like a lung infection and I was like, I have to take a sick leave. So for me to celebrate my success, I think my first moment realizing that was, and this was very, very recent, by the way. This was 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
I had a call with my dad and I'm like, hey, I had someone wanted to do a business deal with me and I had an investor and they wanted to put so much money and I'm like, I don't have time for this. And they still pursued it and they were like, we want to try, and they kept pushing and pushing. And my dad was like, okay, good luck. He doesn't say anything. Like we said, my dad doesn't steer you in any direction and he doesn't show you emotions. He's like, good luck. I don't know what will happen, but like, I hope it finishes because if this finishes, I can go see them. I can go visit them in Egypt. So I was like, let's see. And then my mom calls me and she's like, Maha, you have to tell your dad to stop talking about your businesses because he's telling everyone how successful you've become and you might get the bad eye, right? The hasad, as we call it in Arabic. Someone might يحسدك. So I replied to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I think this is the first time that he was ever proud of me. Let him and you also enjoy it. Like this is a moment where I have been dreaming of my entire life to see my, my parents proud of me, or like having a fight because hide your success because we don't want it to like be looked at in a bad perspective. And it's very hard. Arabic families do not express their love in the European way. We're very like, we don't hug so much, we don't say I love you as much. So it's not only me, by the way. You'll notice it in my generation specifically. Your parents don't show you their love in that way. So when my parents were proud of me, and even the way they showed it, they never came and told me, hey, I'm proud of you, like good job or anything. They were having an internal struggle, an internal fight. And it reached me that they're proud of me. I was like, that's very nice, because you never get that. And you dream of making your parents happy, You want to buy them the best car and buy them the nicest house and make sure they're comfortable. And you're working towards that in your life. And I feel part of my success is because of that, because I want to make sure I'm working so hard. I'm making sure that my parents are happy, they're comfortable, they're in good health, they're taken care of, even if they refuse it. And of course they refuse it, like their parents, like I don't need anything from you kind of thing, but you still want to. And I think that's also a very important drive for me. It's a struggle as a child when you have strict parents or confused parents. I'll call my parents confused because they were on very different wavelengths. So it's an extreme struggle for you to define concepts, rules, ideas, and to know. And when no one is there to assure you that what you're doing is good or bad, or because they're also giving you the freedom. So it's very hard to find a balance with your parents, and also when they're not expressive. So they don't say, hey, we love you, we support you. We don't have that culture. It doesn't come as part of the culture. So sometimes you don't know if what you did is correct or if it's wrong or if this makes them happy. I'm not married. I don't have kids. And I see them, like wanting kids or wanting me to be married or wanting me to have a life that they think is the best for me.
Yeah, the best life for you.
But they are so sweet and I appreciate them so much. They never, ever pressured me or my sister to get married just because it's a society thing. They wanted us to be secure and be have the support that we need, that is sometimes seen as, a relationship or marriage. But in reality, they also give us the space to make that decision on our own. And I'm very grateful for that. Because today, I might not be married or in a relationship, but I also know that I haven't met someone who is going to be the right choice. I was going to get married just because I have to get married. I met so many people down the road, but it wasn't the right person that you're settling down with because they will protect you or take care of you. So it's very hard to accept or show them the love that you love them as parents, because they haven't received love in the normal way. And therefore they didn't show you love in that way. And when you were younger, you assumed they don't love you or they don't care about you or they really don't prefer you as a favorite child because you were a little bit more responsible. So for today, when you're a bit adult and you're like, you have experienced life, you realize they loved you, but in their own way, not in your way. And it's okay. Not everyone has the same way. And I appreciate everything that they've done for me throughout, both my mom and my dad, with all the flaws and all the problems and all the traumas that come with it. But they tried and they had our best interest in their heart. It's just, it was different, a different way of love.
I want to express my respect to your parents in this podcast because they are really wise people. And, during this podcast, during this interview, I took a lot from your parents' approach to tell the truth.
That's very nice.
And, it was, I got some insights while I was listening you. I evaluated my behavior sometimes, and I just made like markups that I need to change it. So please pass my respect to your parents.
I will. Thank you so much.
Yes,
we did. And I see a lot of salespeople, by the way, like this.
Oh,
Who are
really?
like embarrassed to have a phone call in front of someone else. I'm like, what are you embarrassed of? Give me the phone. Let me make that call with you, you know, like
Yeah.
you have to jump in. Like, that's my mom, you know, life is so short. Just
Yeah.
do it. What's the worst that could happen? It won't be nice.
I like
They
your
will
mom.
cut it.
I like your
We'll
mom.
cut it, yeah. She's super young and free.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't know this was only these 3 sessions. I thought you did them before also.
No,
Really?
no. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I had the dream to make my own podcast,
No
to
way.
tell the truth. But, when you have the dream, you need the energy to do it.
Yeah.
And the time also.
Yeah.
But, my daughter, she bought me the microphone.
Really?
For podcast. It's not like such professional as we have right now, but it's small one. It was in holiday, I don't remember, 8th of March, something like this, Mother's Day. And she bought me this microphone just to support me in my dream.
This one? Or before?
Before.
Come on, you have to do it.
And she bought it, and she was not, very professional in the microphones, and we didn't know how to switch on this microphone and etc. But I have it as a memory because my daughter wanted to support me in my dream.